Oh, come on.
I know. I was a bit slow off the mark there. It's been sorry a bit late tonight, people. We had one or two technical things, but hopefully we'll all sort it. No, I did. It's all me. It's all me. It's always all me. It was always me. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to tonight's Sunday service. We've got some news items to rattle through tonight, and we've got some project updates from stuff here as well. So how are you, Drew?
All right, yeah. The wind's getting up again out there. I'm not a big fan of that, if I'm honest.
No, we seem to just have like an omnipresent storm at the moment, don't we?
Yeah. It's not. I've lost the fence panel. Well, I haven't lost it. I know exactly where it is. It's just not where it's supposed to be.
On the fence.
Yeah, it's not on the fence panel. Is not on the fence. It is decorating the garden. But yeah, it's been a. I mean, I flew up to Newcastle earlier this week and then flew back on Friday. So I got our storm going up and their storm coming back. But it was all fine. It was all fine. If breezy, shall we say? So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of. I don't mind the cold weather, but I don't like the wind. It's got damage written all over it, hasn't it? It's got expense written all over it.
Yeah, so I suppose it has. Yeah, although the only thing that's got expense written all over me at the moment is the fact that my gearbox seems to have gone on the Mini. So, but I think it's the cable linkage. I googled it, and apparently when the cable linkage goes, the gear lever goes all floppy, and so fingers crossed that's what it is. Just went suddenly. Anyway, so we started the show and we talked about the weather in my car. I suppose we should really talk about some mod. Actually, we will talk about something. This came up on my one of my Facebook memories today. You see, and this was Facebook memory saying 2 years ago today.
Lord alive! Oh,
2 years ago today.
This is literally 2 weeks before the world ended.
It was 2 weeks before the world ended. We were larging it up in the Blitz tea room in Weston-super-Mare. Somebody had the purple velvet cake, didn't they? I think I had the Victoria sponge or something. But we will be back there. Don't worry, we will be back there. But yeah, 2 years ago.
Good Lord.
Yeah, at least two out of the three of us were enjoying ourselves. So
I was in fine fettle.
Yeah.
Thanks, anyway. Rob. Very helpful.
All right, what was that? Let me read that. You all look so much younger. Yeah, I know. Yep. And Jim Aldergott says, "What's up with the scowl, Jonathan?" No, it's just my natural resting face, Jim. Trust me. Yeah, see, there we go. Oh, blimey. Paul Cave says there was a nice pile of models on the verge on my way down to Bovington. Unlucky trader's van taken out by the wind. Ouch.
That's not great, is it? That's not great.
I know Tim Maunder was at the show this weekend, but obviously I couldn't go because I haven't got a gearbox. So never mind. Anyway, look, shall we get on with some what are we doing?
At least shows are happening again.
Shows are happening again. That's good. Yeah.
So
that's very good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it's heading in the right direction. Just the weather isn't heading in the right direction currently, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Projects. What are you working on, man?
I'm having a thorough crisis at the moment. I said something earlier on Twitter how I seem to have got phenomenally lazy and I've been building a MiG-31 because I wasn't enjoying the Focke-Wulf I was building. So I started a MiG-31 and I've just got to a bit where I have to do a lot of work on the intakes and sand and rescribe and all that sort of stuff. And I've gone, and put it back in the box because I just don't want to. So so that's my last week, and so I've picked this up again, and I'm doing some more of
the icebreaker.
I'm going on the icebreaker again. So I'm going to do another few days on this and see how much further forward we can get the icebreaker, because it's had a good few weeks for everything to harden off nicely now. So
what's the red? Is that filler or is that red?
Yeah. It's just a bit of 3M acryl red that I have lying around. Just needs a little bit.
How retro?
Well, it's fine grained and it does the job, and it was there. So I just thought, sometimes you know that you might technically have a better solution, but you just want to use something anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was that. I was sat here about half an hour ago thinking, those two prop shaft mounting need a bit of filling, and I've got any number of options, but I really want to use acryl red for this one, just for no reason whatsoever, just because, to prove it works. And so there we are. I'm using acryl red for that little bit. I reserve the right to use super glue, Tamiya basic putty, or anything else going forward. So yes, Jim, that would be the hope.
All right, let's just remember to read out the comments, because I can't see. There we go. Guaranteed to break the ice at parties, Drew. Very good, Jim. Yes. Yeah.
I see Mark Neal there is saying he had that with the Fine Molds F4. And that kind of reinforces my opinion on it, doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't think that kit is all that. I really think it is less than some of its parts. Clearly, the best 72nd scale Phantom still, but more effort than it should be.
Yeah.
So.
It's all right, I'm just getting
my camera back. That's basically all I've been doing. So, you've gone all blurry at the edges.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, I think. Oh, that's why. Camera's gone. It's all right. Oh, this blessed Panasonic camera here. Right. Let's see if this works. There we go. I have been having more fun than is possibly permissible with this Lafley V15. It has just been a right blast.
So you've overcome last week's little.
Last week's almost being ruined by ICM's own own paint. But we're now on to I just noticed that dark patch there by the by that. I haven't seen that before. We'll weather that out. So it's as you can see, it's all been kind of doing dusty effects and a little bit of chipping. I've been using some walk around images just to get some rough ideas on a few bits and pieces. But that's pretty much it. And the undersides are just, it's just a test bed for things.
Underside the tanks and armor. It's the test bed.
It's the test bed. And in any event, we've been working on the chassis as well. And I've been having some great fun this afternoon with the Abteilung grease oil paint. And it's like a really thick, dirty brown, glossy color. And I've been
using some of that recently as well.
And I've literally been almost using it like grease around some of the, the axles and things on this, letting it dry for about 5-10 minutes, then going in there with a brush and just blending it away. But it is almost like it is a form of grease, which is rather.
I mean, I've used it for the kind of graphite grease stains that you get on the top of wings of things like F-16s and F-18s, where the leading edge flaps deploy. You can often get this kind of graphite grease stain coming back from there, and I've been using it for that with some success of recent.
It's
I
good
see Mark
stuff.
Neal there saying our ICM paint's a repop of someone else's. We had this discussion the other week, didn't we? And we don't think so. We think it's their own. You know, they probably got it, having it made for them by somebody, but it's not somebody else's paint rebadged or anything, as far as we're aware.
Yeah, so look, I'm actually going to do a little bit of modelling here, and that is I'm just going to go in there with a little bit of turpentine or white spirit or whatnot, and I don't know if you can see, I just need to do a little bit more blending on that bit there. And the beauty of this is you just go in there and you just feather it. It just sort of just washes down and feathers down, and it's absolutely fantastic stuff. It really is. And I did go in, I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but I did go into the bearings here, because I know from personal experience, these things get as greasy and as dirty as anything. So I went in there, and also on the wheels, I had, again, just hours of fun weathering these. And I'm trying to see if I've got one. Yeah, that one hasn't been done yet. So I've just gone in there and just literally with neat paint, I've gone in there and brushed it, brushed it in and around the hub there. And then it's just a case of, again, with a paintbrush and a little bit of white spirit on it, it's just going in there and just with a kind of like a dabbing motion, it's just going in there and blending it into the rest of the paintwork. And I mean, it is just like a Calvin Tan describes this as if you were treating a wound. And I think that's actually a very good way of describing, because he does this with acrylics. But I think Martin Kovac has mentioned something similar with when he's working with enamels and oils and things. But it is such a nice technique. And what you can also do is, like I say, I'm just going in there, just going to do a little bit of blending, is once this is dry, well, when it's dried, is you can then go in there with a completely dry brush and just further kind of feather it around the edges. But it's just, I'll just get rid of that excess there. But yeah, it's just things like this. This is what I love at this stage of the process, is just doing all this kind of, fancy schmancy weathering stuff. I am also conscious of the fact that I keep looking at this model and thinking, well, it's kind of finished-ish, but I just want to keep doing one more little thing to it. And I'm conscious of the fact that I don't want to really over-egg it or overcook it. I'd rather it be undercooked than just suddenly, I start going at it too much and I start losing all the effects that I have striven to create. Like, for example, we've got the on here, if you can see it, we've got those dust deposits sitting around the bolts there and everything. So so it's all little subtle things like that I just don't want to lose by trying to kind of like apply more technique on top of it, and more technique and more ideas. The engine, actually, I repainted the engine because I look at some walk around pictures, and actually they tended to be kind of painted green. So this was just I think this is RLM. What did I use for this? That was a bottle of Gunzi RLM 82, which actually equates very nicely to the color of the engine itself. So that'll do that. I'll do some more detail painting on that. I did the seats, and again, the seats, I had a tremendous hour just blending them with some of those Ammo MIG oil brushes, and then just putting some speckly effects on it. Just, again, looking at the photographs, it's how the seats actually kind of weather down into this kind of patina. But apart from that, I mean, it's and the baby wheels as well. They're all done. So, like I say, I'm conscious of the fact that it is, slap some decals on and a little bit of blending and everything, and actually that's pretty much. It'll be pretty much.
Yeah, it's just time to bring it all together, isn't it?
Yeah. wondering what's happened there, though. I don't know, that dark patch. I can't think what's
I
happened.
can't see it. I can't. Is it what on the mudguard
Yeah, just there.
or in front of the?
Just there. I don't know what's happened there. Something's occurred. Weird.
It's not really visible on the film, so on the stream. So
Yes. Well, you can see it there, can't you? Look. See it? No.
not really. Well, yeah, you can, but it looks like a change in angle on the shadow
No,
rather than anything else.
It's an annoying effect, and I don't know what it is.
But I always find those little bits that I missed, like an oil weathering and stuff, I always spot them just as the varnish is drying over it.
Yes. Well,
no.
What I'm going to do is, again, live on the internet, is I've just decanted a little bit of the Ammo of MIG oil brusher colour, just a tiny amount on there. And what I'm going to do is just go into that little corner there and blob some of that in there, like so. And I'm going to let that dry right up until the end of the program. And then what we'll do is, with a bit of luck, we can go in there with a stumping brush and blend that in so that it will get rid of that, whatever that thing is that's going on there. It's kind of really weird.
Dave Fleming, you are a cynic.
What, live JM ruins his Lashley? No, he's not going to ruin it, Dave. No, it's going to be awesome sauce.
I will say in terms of using brushes and things to manipulate stuff. I know that we were watching. I think it was Calvin Tan's videos a couple of years ago, and we started investigating the Filberts, didn't we?
Do you know what? I've just picked up a Filbert,
I think the Filberts are possibly one of the best all-round brushes you can get. Full stop.
Well, I'll just show you this very quickly. Hang about. A story of two Filberts, which is this is one of my Dale Rowney Georgian Sable Filberts, which is actually one of the ones that Calvin Tan recommended you get for figure painting. You can tell how much I've used it by the fact that it's still in pristine condition. And this was, how can I describe this? This paintbrush was more than £10, I think is the best way of putting it. And then my local DIY shop had these cheapo ones outside for about £1. And I got a couple of them, thought I'll give them a go. They're actually really good for doing what I'm doing here, which is just kind of like blending and polishing paint and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I got again from I ordered a couple of sets a while back. Excuse me, while I pick a brush up. I ordered a set a while back from ABC Brushes, and it's just this little selection of different sizes here of Filberts, but they're beautiful. I think it was about a tenner for this set of 4, but they're just absolutely beautifully soft, and the way they allow you to blend stuff. It's so much. You'd think it was just like a flat brush, but the curvature on the end just makes them work in their own way, doesn't it?
I found that when I was doing some when I was kind of like following Calvin's techniques and I was doing some figure painting, was that the way Filberts put the paint onto figures is completely different to using a flat or indeed something like an O.
Yeah, and it's and the way it takes paint off and blends it as well, blends oils, is just, there's something about the way they work because of the shape of them that just it's just well, if you don't have Filberts in your brush collection, get some. Basically,
like I say, these are just. I've got to go down the shops tomorrow. I'm gonna have a look in the DIY shop, see if they've got any more, because I'm going to invest in some more. I did use the Filberts on the wheels, and that was, I went around the. I put a nice little layer of the MIG oil brush dust around the center of the rim, the edge of the wheel rim, and then it was just a case of, with a Filbert, I was just blending it outwards towards the edge of the tire.
Yeah.
And just kept doing that. I did
Oh.
use some. It was an old bottle of, I think it was ammo of MiG or somebody. It was a dust color, which I put into the. I'll just zoom in a bit here. Which I put into the tires, into the treads here. It's, to be honest with you, the paint is past its best. It started separating out and gone all kind of, horrible. So what I did do was then went over that with some of that. It's the Vallejo German black brown, which is that kind of chipping color. Just again with a filbert and just dry brush the treads, so that you get that nice pop of contrast between that and the, that and the dust in there. But yeah, that was, like I say, it's ridiculous. That was a couple of hours today I spent just weathering 4 wheels. But you know what? I loved it. I think they look great.
Well, and
modestly,
the results certainly look great. So why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thoroughly. If any of you out there don't have filberts at this point, I would seek a set out. You might be surprised at how it allows you to get some effects you weren't previously aware you could get. I see Jim up there was asking about 3rd generation AK acrylics. Yeah, we have discussed it a couple of times here. I've had some, Jim, and like I don't use water-based acrylics generally anyway. They're okay. They airbrushed okay. I didn't like the color matches I got from the RAF set, and they weren't very hardy, especially when you're used to using lacquers like I am. But yeah, they're okay. They airbrush a little bit easier than the than Vallejo and stuff like that. But there's not really a great deal in it. Overall, they're okay. Good for detail work, I would suggest.
I haven't tried them yet. I think I've still either got the 1st gen or the 2nd gen AK acrylics here.
Yeah, I only bought one set a while back and just tried them.
Right.
And I went, yeah, it's okay. But I see Jim again asking, are the Filbert brushes? Well, Filbert is the name of the shape rather than the trade name. So Filberts will be available worldwide. You just, any large brush manufacturer will make a range of Filberts. So just
Paul Cave says I had Filberts from the works for a £3 a set, which have served me well. There is something to be said for cheap brushes, in as much as when you're using them for doing kind of like dirty work, literally in our cases, you don't want any of I don't want to be using my hideously expensive Dana Rowney Filberts for blending paints onto a surface. I can use a cheapo one I got from the local DIY shop. So
I mean, Dan Wood there said, I've never even heard the word Filbert till tonight. Can you just give a quick rundown of what they are? Well, yeah, I mean, what they are, Dan, is, let me zoom in a minute, is they are effectively, they're flat. It's a wide flat brush, but as you can see by the tip, it has a rounded tip,
like a spade.
And it also tapers slightly towards a tip in on the narrow angle as well. So yeah, it's got a shape like a spade more. But it makes things like cutting colors in and when you're dealing with blending and stuff, it just makes it so much more accurate and easily controlled. And the one thing I've noticed is because of the way they are shaped, they feel very soft as well. They're not necessarily any softer than a normal shaped brush, but the way they taper away makes them feel a bit softer and easier to work with. So that's all a Filbert is. But if you don't have one or a set, I would highly recommend it, and I think so would John.
I'm just going to say yes, I would. In fact, here we go. Look, I've just gone onto that Google. And there we go, Filbert. I mean, just Google is your friend. You can get them in variety of materials. Some of them are sable, some of them are synthetic. You can get them in certainly a variety of prices as well. In fact, I've just noticed that actually. They're not Filberts. They're more flats.
Yeah,
they're not flats at all. Not Filberts at all. Yeah, Filberts are more. That is a classic Filbert shape. It is that kind of spade shape, and that's the beauty of them. Is it's because of that shape. That's the thing that assists you in blending, because you're not getting like the brush isn't giving you a hard edge, if you see what I mean. That makes sense.
You're always getting like, yeah, I mean, you're always getting like,
it's always feathering because of the shape of the brush.
If you go at an angle like that with something, you're getting a rounded edge as well.
Yeah,
you're getting sort of a rounded edge on the brush, allowing you to cut in very, very accurately. But they also hold quite a lot of paint.
yeah.
So they are really a multi-purpose brush that they will allow you to do any kind of painting and any kind of weathering. Just makes them more accurate, and it allows you to get better results. Mark Neal, sorry, Droy, I missed that. Was that the 3rd gen acrylics? Mark Neal's asked. Yeah, that was what we were talking about with the AK 3rd gens, Mark.
Yeah. And James Ray says, been using them for years, never knew they were called Filberts. Yeah, I never knew they were called Filberts, but now I do, and I think they are. Like I say, I think they're just an absolutely brilliant brush to have in your arsenal.
Yeah.
They
are. I'm constantly on the lookout for new ones now to increase, because I could see a point where, apart from a few very small brushes and a few very big brushes, the majority of my brush painting work will be done with a Filbert. I've used one of the smaller ones to do the things like side consoles and joysticks in cockpits and stuff, and the accuracy of them is just, it's on another level. So I would certainly recommend them.
So the Lafley, it's probably about another couple of evenings of work, and that's it. I'm going to cut it loose. It's just going to be, that's it. You know, I don't, like I say, I really don't want to kind of keep thinking, oh, I'll try doing this, and I'll add this, and I'll add a wash here, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, because that is, at that stage, I always think I should have stopped about 4 stages back. And I'll tell you one of the things that I do. Again, I fought shy on this one. I'll just pop the camera back a sec. I fought shy on this one, but I might do it on that big 24 scale Jeep that I've got to build. And that is when I'm kind of doing I'm at the painting stage and everything, is next time I am going to, on this 24 scale Italy Jeep, I am going to go into all these kind of corners within the body, and I'm going to go in there with like a Tamiya buff or a sandy, dusty color, and do a slight blend with the olive drab, but have like a really forced dust effect inside the body and in other parts, like the footwells as well. I've done that with oil brushes, as you can see that there. I've done that with oil brushes, but I might go in there and really kind of like massively do it with the airbrush, because then when I start adding other effects on top, like chipping and kind of edging it with a darker color to suggest kind of like slightly wetter dust or mud or whatever, that kind of pre-dusting really will start to disappear. It won't look quite so stark.
Well, it won't look stark. It'll always be there. You won't run the risk of actually completely losing it. It's it's the same technique, just a forced initial application, and then you blend away from that, rather than trying to create the effect with that. You're trying to blend away from that, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, so, exactly. So it's just going to be a leap of faith for me to actually go, I know it looks wrong, but I know where it's going to go ultimately in the end. Like I say, by the time you start putting dark washes and things in there, that pre-dusting will really disappear. So in theory anyway. Let's talk about some news items, and we've got a few to talk about this week. You're going to be enthralled, because 2 of them are German tanks.
It's German armor, isn't it?
It is German armor. So we'll crack on with the first one. This is TACOM, and they're doing a Flak Panzer IV Kugelblitz. Now this is a paper project which is a kind of like a TACOM have imagined it as a development from the Flak Panzer IV Kugelblitz. Now that was an that was actually a real vehicle based on the Panzer IV chassis, and it used a 30 millimeter Mark 103 cannon. And I seem to remember that I think 5 prototypes of the Flak Panzer IV Kugelwitz were built, and allegedly one may have actually been in action, but that's a bit. But the remains of one were discovered, and one of the turrets is actually on display in a museum. But this is a little bit of a flight of fantasy. This is imagining what would have happened had it been developed into, on the Panther chassis. So this is one of those things that will split modelers and armor modelers down the middle. In fact, I was reading some of the comments on TACOM's Facebook page, and you'd think they just committed some kind of heinous crime. It's a model, it's a box of plastic, and it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but some people will like this because it gives them a bit more imagination, a bit more free reign. And frankly, so long as people are making models, do we really care what they're
do we really care? It's not.
Really
we know that it's not something that would intrigue me. But the bottom line is sales.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be. Manufacturers wouldn't be producing these things if they didn't generate sales. So,
yeah.
That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of the argument.
Yeah. Like I say, there are a number of these paper Panzer kits out there. From different manufacturers. I think is it Model Collect do a large number of them?
Oh, they do. Scale? They do stacks of them. Yeah, they do stacks of them.
But they are popular.
Well, the argument almost answers itself in that I've just said Model Collect do stacks of them.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
I gotta say, I like the look of this one with the red primer turret. I think that's that's quite interesting. Is it something I'd be likely to build? Probably not. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy one, but I can see the appeal, even if I myself I'm not really interested in it. But it's it's a brand new model from TACOM, and it's there will be fans of it, and more power to them. So
yeah, well, let's say ultimately, if it wasn't going to. TACOM have been around long enough to know their market now.
Yeah.
So if they didn't think it was going to sell, they wouldn't do it. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also from TACOM, and this is actually a real vehicle. They've called it an Ersatz M7, which again seemed to annoy some people who say that wasn't its official designation. It's essentially it's a Stug 3 Aus G with some field mods for the Ardennes offensive, and these were used by SS Panzer Brigade 150, which was the notorious unit which disguised itself as American troops and had a number of personnel who were quite fluent in English. I think is the best way of putting it. And this was accompanied by the Panther, which was made into an Ersatz M10. Essentially, the Germans didn't have enough serviceable kind of like captured Allied vehicles to use in the Ardennes, so they just mocked up some of their own vehicles. Like I say, this is supposed to look like an M7 Priest. Yeah, okay, but
yeah, no.
But this was an actual vehicle. It really did exist, and they were used in, like I say, they were used in the Ardennes in the Battle of the Bulge. That looks absolutely splendid. It's really kind of beaten up and knackered and everything. Like the Ersatz M10, it's a fascinating subject. I just wish they hadn't been operated by the SS, because I'll never build one.
Well, this is a problem. Is that I really like the look of that kit. Yeah. The box art's fabulous. I really like the look of that kit, but it's such scummy behaviour.
Yeah,
it's such, and the fact that a lot of these or more than a few of these SS guys were actually just, you know, were tried and shot for just this kind of thing, kind of makes me shrug my shoulders and go, well, you know, so what? So yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with building SS subjects full stop, but I kind of this does kind of, you know, it still, you know, it still goes against the grain a little bit for me.
We can get into the kind of like the moral relativism of me saying I personally would never build anything to do with the SS, the Gestapo, you name it. I just wouldn't dignify them with any of my time building that kind of stuff. But then again, you know, I'm a you know, people say yes, but you've built Stukas, you've built 109s. You know, it's kind of like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, none of that. When you're talking about relative morality, it doesn't have to make sense.
No,
there's nothing about your morality that has to make sense. The only person it has to make sense to is you. I will not build. I love Stukas. I will not build Rudel Stuka.
No, I wouldn't either.
End of story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and you know, I particularly love G2s. I do, but I will not build Rudel's aircraft.
Funny thing is, I'm currently reading. I picked this up from the National Trust bookshop at Avebury, very strange place, and it's the book that accompanied the BBC television series Space Race. If you remember that, it was a drama documentary about Werner von Braun and Korolev.
Okay.
Rather, it was made in 2005. Trivia note, boys and girls: the very fine visual effects for that series were done by a young visual effects designer called Gareth Edwards. I wonder what he ever did after that. And the thing is that, you know, I have my opinions on Werner von Braun, and they tend not to be very favourable. But then again, I keep threatening my mother that I will build her a V2. For the simple reason that she was bombed out of her house in London by a V2. So I thought it'd be a very nice reminder for her. And here's a model of a V2. So moral relativism.
Yeah, moral relativism. Yeah, like I say, the only person it has to make sense to is you. You know,
absolutely. Slightly less controversial thing from TACOM, and this does interest me actually, and that is they are doing a Fock Achgelis FA330 back cells, but this is 1/16 scale and includes pilots sculpted by Jason, and these are fascinating. They were known as rotor kites. They had absolutely no power whatsoever. The idea was that the propeller on it spun from the airflow of a moving sub. These were deployed on U-boats and subs and things, which would then, you know, lift it up into the air, and it was towed on a cable and used for spotting purposes. And then when it, you know, the job was done, it would be towed back in to the sub. And or if they needed to do a crash dive, the cable would be cut, and the pilot would have to swim his way back home, essentially. But yeah, 1/16 scale. This looks fabulous. I'm really taken with this. I can see this finding its way across my workbench.
It's a very interesting subject, isn't it? It's and you know, my first thought is, good Lord, I wouldn't want to be being towed behind a U-boat in one of those when a Sunderland shows up. But it's how vulnerable are you there?
Yeah, that's true. Apparently, there are quite a sizable number of these have survived and are in museums, including Cosford and Yeovilton. I don't remember seeing one of these at Yeovilton. Do you?
No, perhaps we just haven't been looking. Perhaps it's one of those things you tend to just pass by, or I certainly don't remember seeing it in the reserve collection when I went to the reserve collection.
I was just going to say, is it in the reserve collection?
Having said that, if you fold the rotors, it's going to pack away into somewhere pretty small, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know, it's not it's not going to be too difficult to hide that. I wouldn't suggest.
I'm just having a quick Google here to see whereabouts it may be at Yeovilton. And it's not. I'm not coming up with anything. Whether it's up in the air somewhere or up in the rafters. Interesting that.
All I can say with some degree of certainty is if somebody said, "Do you want to go in one of those?" I would say, "Do you mind if I don't?"
Yeah, I think I'd give it a miss as well. But yeah, so I'm going to try and find out where that is at Yeovilton, because, like I say, I don't remember it. I don't remember. Hang about. It's not on the carrier deck, is it? It wouldn't be part of the carrier deck experience. No. I just saw a picture of here, one next to a Seahawk. But I'll try and find out what the story is there. But yeah, but 1/16 scale comes with a pilot figure sculpted by Jason. And I just love this. I think this will be one of those kind of weirdly diverting modelling projects.
Well, it's almost. I mean, given what you've been doing recently, you're going to spend longer on the figure than you are on the aircraft.
Yeah, probably about 6 months, knowing me.
Yeah.
So, perhaps not. Then perhaps we'll wait to see when the kit comes out and see what other people make of it. And also, a rarity for us tonight. We've got a couple of cars to talk about as well. One is new-ish, one isn't. We'll start with the ones that aren't newish, but I think we both saw these and thought these look really cool. This is Aoshima. These have been out for a while yet, but they've just reissued a number of them.
So that's a fast food sort of ramen stand, mobile ramen stand, isn't it? That's great.
Mobile vending series, they call it.
I love it. I just love it.
Isn't it? Isn't it? That's the one I like, the little red one.
Yeah, still love it. Just, if that doesn't make you grin, you've got no soul.
I can see that being a good little project again for kind of like that mix of kind of concourse and weathering. Nice little bit of dust on it, not rust or anything, because these things tend to be looked after, but just a little bit of road dust, a little bit of road dirt on it. I could see Spencer building one of these actually.
Yeah.
When he popped up on the Aoshima feed. Now here's the thing. Aoshima, a kit company that I think for a lot of us kind of dropped off the radar over the years. Very aggressive with their social media marketing. Very forward. Don't see Hasegawa doing that. In fact, Hasegawa seemed to have dropped off the radar.
Yeah, I mean, Hasegawa, for us in the West, Hasegawa have gone pretty much the way of Fujimi now, haven't they?
Well, I was going to say, even Fujimi at least have some kind of social media kind of presence out there.
I don't even know if Hasegawa have a UK importer now.
Not a shame.
I don't know. Just they appear to have been caught out by the crash and stuff and never really recovered from it, and sort of withdrawn back into the home market almost exclusively.
Yeah.
They haven't done a new tool aircraft for several years, have they?
No. I think the last one they did was probably they may have done something Japanese in the meantime, but the two notable ones were probably the Eurofighter and the Osprey.
They've done a couple of variants of the F-35 since then. But the last new tool I can remember is that 72nd scale Emily, was it? The big 4-engined flying boat.
Yeah.
Which looks, I've seen a couple of YouTube videos of it being built and it looks stunning. But it's best part of 100 quid over here if you get it. But yeah, I see the catalogue updates each month for what they're releasing, and if you're of our particular bent in terms of aircraft and stuff, it's slim pickings. They really appear to have gone another way completely. Yeah, Anthony says, was it Amarang? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
And I don't even know if Amarang exists anymore.
I've just gone on to Plaza Japan, and they've got all these little Aoshima vehicles up here. I'm just looking at Star Kebab is one of the ones they've got here, and they've got it
Oh, we
priced
got
at.
a kebab house in Yeovil called Star Kebab.
There we go. They got it priced up here at £11.09. I don't know what the obviously postage from Japan is going to come extra on top of that. Probably going to double the price of it. But even if it doubles the price, I think 20 quid for it is not bad.
I've used Plaza Japan quite frequently in the last 6 months for some peculiar, for some kits that aren't easily available here. And I mean, talking of Hasegawa, they re-released their B24J just before Christmas. And I think when that was released 12 or whatever, however, 12, 13 years ago in the UK, it was 60 quid as a new kit in the UK. And I managed to get one back in January from Japan to the UK for just over 40, including postage. So obviously you do run the risk of being hit by, import tax and, VAT and stuff. I haven't yet, but that is a risk you take. But yeah, they are, Plaza Japan seems to be they're certainly a legit vendor. And they're pretty good.
I'm just doing some quick calculations here. Apparently, economy air shipping from Japan is 1,410 yen, which is just short of a tenner.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say 8 or 9 quid, I would have thought.
Yeah. So that comes to 3,143 yen. I'm just going to do a quick yen to pound sterling calculation here, and that comes to £20.11, which was pretty much on the ball for what I thought it would be.
Yeah,
that's not bad. It's not bad, but I'm sure Aoshima probably have a UK distributor, so I'm sure somebody.
Yeah, I don't even know what the pound to yen exchange ratio is now. I used to follow it daily because of the amount of stuff I used to order from Rainbow 10.
Yeah. 0.64 of a pound to a yen. So just over 50p to a yen.
That's actually back where it was in sort of 2005, 2006 time. That's superb, because it really dropped right. It got terrible. The exchange rate got terrible. But yeah, I use Plaza Japan quite happily. What you have to do is average out the times you're going to get caught for VAT and stuff over the times you don't.
But I'm sure I can get it in this country one way or the other. I'll have a look on eBay. Like I say, I was just having a quick look online, just idle curiosity. But like I say, I think they are fabulous. And yeah, I'm probably one. I think that would make a nice little Christmas project, actually, just to build that over the holidays. I just think they look fabulous. Just real oddball vehicles. However, we ain't finished with vehicles tonight, because we mentioned this last week when we were going through the ICM catalogue, and ICM popped this up on their social media feed this week, and it is their 1/24th scale Benz Patent Motor Wagon 1886, and this is the easy build version of their 2020 kit that they've done. Now, I know we were chatting during the week, and I said that I was so taken with their kind of like jalopy range of vehicles that I thought, yeah, I've got to build one. I really want to build one. And well, here we go. Easy build one.
I think the easy build comes in the fact that the spokes are plastic, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, blimey, there's so many kind of like interesting paint effects you can do for that. The leather, the upholstery, the engine, the fact that you haven't got any large surfaces that require a concours gloss finish. So, win-win. But doesn't that look fabulous? Isn't that really
quite, it's quite engaging, isn't it? I love the flywheel at the back there.
Yeah.
That big almost steam-like flywheel, isn't it?
It is. It's yeah, there is. If we get to the end of the year and I haven't built, at least if I haven't fulfilled my contractual obligation to build one of these ICM jalopies, then I would have failed you all miserably. I think I've got to do it. It tickles me. There's something about this, bit like, I'm thinking back to things like the Lands Bulldog and my Laughley here. and the Tempo, the little Tempo E400 from Mini Art, little things like that. When you see a kit and you think, oh yeah, that just looks fun.
I really want to do that.
Yeah. I really want to do it. It's way out of what I'd normally do. I want to do that. So yeah, I'm really, really kind of be interesting to see. I'll have a word with Mr. Hills at Antics. I'm sure he stocks ICM, so I'm sure he can get one in for me. But yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
There we go. We're going to do it. There you go. Policy decision live on the internet. We are.
There you go. And he said it on the internet, so it is true. It will be
absolutely
happening.
Right. Meanwhile, back at the workbench, we are going to go before we leave tonight. We are going to go in, and that little bit of oil brushing that I put into there to get rid of that dark patch, whatever that is there. You can see that.
Filbert.
Yeah, that's a Filbert. You ever used them? They're very good.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So yeah,
apparently, yeah. I saw some guys talking about it on the internet, and I thought, well, I better go and get some then. So what I'm going to do with my Filbert is, I'm just trying to get the right angle here, is I'm just going to go in there now and start to. There'll probably be a couple of applications of this oil brusher stuff, because sometimes you can put too much on and you're trying to get rid of it. Other times you don't put enough on and you have to go in for a second pass. But as you can see, or not, as the case may be, it's starting to blend it into the paintwork. Oops, Daisy. And whatever that dark patch is, it's starting to vanish a bit. But yeah, there we go. From where we were literally a few seconds ago, you can see now how that Filbert...
It's already fading away, isn't it?
It's fading away. However, I still think we could do with a bit more there. So I am just going to decant. So I never use the oil brusher brushes. I know somebody got a bit bent out of shape, a bit like the oil brusher brush itself, about how they're not really great quality. But for goodness sake, I don't buy these things for the brushes. I buy it for the actual material and the actual paint. And the actual paint is really interesting stuff, because I think I said this to Ivan, that it, unlike oil paints, these seem to have like a bit of a kind of like a greasy kind of polymer to them or something. Something in them that makes them a little bit more blendable. And they
do dry quicker as well.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the oil paints you used to get in those paint by numbers sets. They had a peculiar kind of smell that weren't like oil paints, and they were quite greasy. If you got them on your fingers, they were quite greasy. So yeah, so I've kind of, as you can see there, I've gone in there with a little bit more aggressively this time with some more. But we'll let that blend, we'll let that dry for about 20-30 minutes. I've got a little bit, I don't know if you can see, just in the footwell there it is. There's a little bit down there which hasn't quite blended properly. So I'm just going to see whether, because once this stuff dries, it dries absolutely rock hard. And that has dried absolutely rock hard. So what I'm going to do to rectify that is just go in there and blob a bit more in there, and then I'll blend that in. Again, I'll blend that later. And incidentally, I have been studying the way dust and dirt collects in the footwells of cars when I've been hoovering out most of Weston-super-Mare Beach that seems to get itself into mine. So, or Breen Sands, or Severn Beach. So, yeah, trust me, this gets everywhere within the footwell. But yeah, we need to. Oh, actually, I suddenly realised I did do a little bit of dust just there, because there was something going on there that I didn't like. So again, I'll just go in there with the Filbert. That's the other thing about the Filberts, is you can work them on their edges, on their sides as well. But I'm just going to go in there, and rather pleasing sound they make. And then that's it. Job done. Blended. Nice. Yeah. Oh, they're fantastic brushes. They really are. I love my Filberts. So there we are. That's been some actual proper modelling tonight.
Yeah, we've been showing some modelling, haven't we?
Goodness me, that'll have to stop.
Well, the problem is if we keep doing that, people start expecting it all the time.
Oh, yeah, there is that. Stan Codling, thanks, Stan. He says that Ayashima dealer is Kent Models. Brilliant. Right. Okay, I'll look into that. That sounds. And also, Anthony Bird says Expo Tools seems to be the UK.
I think we had this discussion. We had this discussion not that long ago about who actually deals Ayashima in his country versus who the importer is. Because there are some dealers, but not necessarily the importers.
Oh, and Sean, it's not Sean, sorry, John Connolly says, with Zvezda releasing a SU25, can we expect an SU7? It would be nice, but we will have a look at the Zvezda SU25 probably on the Wednesday show. Stan Codling also says Ayashima UK dealers, Hero Boy and Part Models. So we've got Hero Boy.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got three possible dealers and one possible importer.
Yeah, Expo and Kent Models. So out of the four, I'm sure I could probably find Jadlan will do it as well now. So anyway, any other business?
Nothing from me, no.
Oh, okay.
No, it's been a bit of a light week. It's really weird. There hasn't been a huge amount of new stuff announced recently.
No, I mean it's essentially a few updates from Dora Wings on the Vengeance, but not much. That's it really. It's like I say, the TACOM stuff has been the three notable things announced this week.
Yeah.
I
guess if we look to there's been some announcements from ClearProp on some more sea sprites and stuff like that. Which we might have to gather some information together for the next show. But I haven't really been paying attention because I was up in Newcastle for 3 days and then back for the weekend and sorting stuff out the weekend. So I haven't really been paying that much attention or doing any modelling. Although I did get that in the post yesterday. So it's some 72nd scale Rafales. So I'm just waiting for a Hobby Boss Rafale to turn up because I really want to do a Qatari one in the camouflage. So. But yeah, no, nothing further from me at this point.
Well, I'm hoping that by the time we get to Wednesday's show, I will have got to the bottom of what's wrong with my floppy gear stick, and it will be fixed at a reasonable price. That's what it is. I know it's the cable. It's the cable. I know it is. You said more in hope than expectation.
Yeah, that's it. Do you know it is, or are you just? Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's what it is.
No, I googled it, and every single thing forum that I went to that people were talking about it, and people said my gear stick suddenly went floppy, and it wouldn't change gears or things. And every instance, it was the cable. The cable just wears eventually, and it goes. Right. And it's a reasonably straightforward fix. So we'll see. Anyway, for those of you who tuned in, we've kind of started not talking about modelling. We ended not talking about modelling, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, we'll get this. We're definitely going to try and get this Laffley wrap this week, so I can. I've got a couple of things to get on with, but I also want to get on with that little tempo because that just looks tremendous fun. Bit like this, but just civilian.
Fair enough.
I know, absolutely. Right, on that note, just remains to say thank you for watching, as always. Stay safe, especially those of us in the UK at the moment who are going a little bit of the windy weather.
A little bit of wind, yeah.
A little bit of wind. Hopefully, I'll meet up with Mr. Pollard on Wednesday, one way or the other. So,
are we going to Glastonbury or what?
In theory, yes, if I've got a car, Drew. Remember the bit I was telling you about the car?
Yes,
right?
I know.
If
but
I
you
don't
said
have a car.
Yes, John. Let me finish. But you just said I'll be meeting up with Mr. Pollard on Wednesday, and when I went kind of, oh right, okay.
Because he's in Bristol, right? I can still get the bus and meet him in Bristol. See, Plan B. See, contingencies. And there's not. If only there was a model shop in Bristol we could go to. Oh yes, there is. Oh, there we go. So, you happy?
Happy is
happy is pejorative.
Is a relative term.
If I've got the car back, what did you do on Sunday night? I watched two middle-aged blokes in Somerset start bickering. Nothing
That's
new
why
there.
they tune in. That's largely why they tune in.
If the car's serviceable on Wednesday, then yeah, it'll be Plan A again. So fingers crossed, we will be Plan A. But Plan B might be I just meet up with Spence in Bristol. So
people come for the models, stay for the bickering.
They stay for the arguments, absolutely. So on that note, on that harmonic note, as always, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you.
Take care, all. See you Wednesday.